Are you and your home at the same stage in your life cycle? I'm George Grant Birch, a residential consultant in Houston, Texas, and today I'm going to explore the concept of aging, both for you and your home. Statistically, the average American homeowner will own 3 homes in their lives. It makes sense when you think about it: a starter home, a dream home, and a retirement home. Of course, these are just averages, and the reality of an individual or family can vary greatly from the data. But my experience in the real estate industry totally supports this theory. Let's take a look at these 3 phases, and I'd love to hear in the comments how closely these lifestyles line up with your personal path. By definition, the first home a person or family owns is their starter home, but there are a lot of nuances here. Some builders actually specialize in building new starter homes in starter neighborhoods. These homes are typically 3 to 4 bedrooms with 2 to 3 bathrooms and offer garages, driveways, backyards, and amenities not always available to apartment dwellers. Sometimes there are entire starter communities, and sometimes there are starter neighborhoods within larger, more diversified communities. These communities tend to be on the outskirts and edges of town, and for years, the requisite commute that came with these locations was considered part of the price of homeownership for entry-level workers. In today's work-from-home environment, it will be interesting to watch how these starter neighborhood communities evolve when the commute is taken out of the picture. Do you think that will make them more desirable? Let me know what you think in the comments. Closer into the city, a starter home is more likely to be a townhome or condominium, as these configurations allow builders to place more affordable homes in areas with higher land values. Getting more units into less space usually involves 2, 3, and even 4-story floor plans, but that's not usually a problem for young singles or families. The neighbors are often in similar phases of their lives, so the spacing allows compact, walkable communities with lots of options for socialization and entertainment. Whether it's at the edge of town or in the city, these starter homes allow people to build equity and grow their personal wealth while they focus on career and family matters. A statistic that offers insight into the next phase of home ownership is the observation that homeowners tend to stay in a home for 7 to 10 years. For a mid-century boomer family like my dad's, that meant after all the kids were born, and was a young professional's step up from a basic home to something larger, more modern, and incorporating the latest modern conveniences. Today, modern moms may realize that the 4-story townhome hubby owned while they were dating is not nearly as practical with their 3rd child on the way. Maybe the starter home at the edge of town was great when you were first married, but now that you've got kids, it's getting cramped, the commute is a grind, and the schools just really aren't what you want for your kids. It's time to move on to something bigger, better, and more in keeping with your current earning power. The dream home you've always aspired to own. This will be the home where memories are made, children are raised, graduation parties are hosted, and weddings are planned. It serves as holiday central for countless celebrations with plenty of room to cook and serve the extended family. It has spaces for the kids to entertain their friends, a huge primary for mom and dad to relax and unwind, and maybe even a pool in the yard where all the neighborhood kids while away the summers. I think for most, this is the home that forms the core of the family consciousness, the home we all think of when we say home. The home that young adults remember fondly from childhood and older adults remember as the place where we raised the kids. Many older adults, like my mother, had a hard time letting go of that idyllic residence that served so well during those exciting times. The memories and photos aren't enough, and they remain in these homes alone, hanging on to spaces, rooms, and furnishings that they don't need and can no longer use. Kitchens and bathrooms become dated, flooring becomes worn, and the pool gets dirty from neglect and disuse. It seems a sad environment for someone to live their golden years, but for my mother, it's exactly what she wanted. As a real estate consultant, I'm encouraged to see that this devotion to subpar spaces may be a generational thing, as boomers and the X generation have a rosier outlook for their future. Rather than planning to wither away in the old family home, we look forward to active lifestyles far beyond our working years and don't really want to be encumbered by the maintenance required by older houses and unused spaces. Adults today want to get closer to the action and are eager to trade extra bedrooms and huge backyards for smaller homes near the people and places they love. Condominiums offer lock and leave convenience for those who want to travel, and patio homes give gardeners space to putter without having to maintain a huge lawn. Over 55 communities exist for those who prefer being around people in similar positions, and independent living communities allow older adults to live alone for as long as possible before they transition to more attentive care without having to relocate. So at what age will you consider transitioning between phases? Each individual or family situation is going to be different, but in my real estate practice, I see a few commonalities that can be helpful to consider. When you look at all of the phases as parts of a path, it makes it easier to get the most out of each phase by focusing on the needs and priorities that are most important in the moment. The first move is the initial transition into home ownership, either from a rental or a co-living situation. Usually the most important concerns here are financial. Going from a 1-year lease to a 30-year mortgage seems like such a huge step. Even when the mortgage payments are similar to what you've been paying in rent, there are other expenses involved. Even so, when you convert your primary housing payment from pure expense to investment, you can begin to build equity that allow your financial position to grow over time. Home ownership is the end goal, and finding a home that fits within the financial plan is the main priority. Location, amenities, and space are all important, but if the home is not going to support your financial plan, it doesn't make sense to buy it. The transition from starter home to dream home is less financial and more situational. It's often initiated by life events, like a job change, the birth of a child, or other lifestyle changes. In the case of a job change, location may be the priority. Work from home and home-based business opportunities may create a need for specialized work and storage areas. As children are born, families outgrow starter homes. Kids of different ages and interests need space to grow and develop as siblings and individuals. If the starter home has been well cared for and the neighborhood and market are stable, there's usually appreciable equity to be transferred into the next home. Because the budget is usually higher, the options here seem endless. You can buy an existing home for a quick move, or to renovate so it meets your needs perfectly. Building a new home is an option, either from a builder's plan or a custom design. Customization is often a high priority in this phase, as family routines and tastes are clearly developed and the home itself becomes part of the family. This dream home phase is probably the longest term of home ownership, with many families staying 20 to 30 years in one place. While some families may move to different homes during this phase, many stay put through the school, college, and wedding years. Often, the home becomes grandma's house as it continues to serve as the main gathering place for extended family events and entertaining. More memories are made, and the home is able to continue to provide comfort and joy for a new generation. This leads to what, for some, may be the most difficult transition to consider, especially for certain generations. As adults age toward retirement, they may consider a residential transition based on a number of factors. This move may be prompted by economic, physiological, or psychological priorities, and is sometimes undertaken without much planning or forethought. When we transition from earned income to retirement plans and Social Security, there are multiple ways to tap into home equity to supplement our financial situation. Many of my clients, while still active and able-bodied, would rather spend their energy on travel and leisure as opposed to home maintenance. In some cases, friends and relations are no longer adjacent, and it makes sense to relocate for social interaction and connection. Lately, I'm seeing clients making these transitions earlier rather than later in order to position themselves to age comfortably without having to worry about changes in their abilities, forcing quick decisions or concessions due to unanticipated circumstances. Whether you're going to age in place, downsize to something more manageable, or explore other options for retirement living, Planning ahead and sharing your plan with friends and family can go a long way towards smoothing the transition when the time comes. I've talked to friends, family, and professionals about different paths they've taken, and I've got lots to share in future videos. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the notifications button so you'll be among the first to see them.